Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Full Moon Fridays here on the Outpost Unknown YouTube channel. My name is Matthew. Joining me on our continuing journey through the chronological order of the Puppet Master franchise is Steve.
Hello. At what point do we start regretting our life choices? I don't know that it's this week, but I feel like it's coming.
I don't know, there could be some regret with this one. We're going to talk about Puppet Master Axis Rising tonight. I will point out that our good friend Borp is under the weather, so he could not join us this week. Now, Steve, you can give me some shit. We were supposed to record this last Friday. What happened?
You decided to grocery shop for 4 hours, which means that our good friend Borp watched this incredibly problematic movie for no reason. So, good job. I hope it was worth it.
Now, to be fair to myself, I did not realize it was going to take this long, and I gave you guys a heads up at least an hour ahead of time. But yeah, I ended up being on a long grocery shopping sabbatical. But I was able to couldn't find his hat, but I could find my Jester. See, I love Jester. We're going to talk about Jester tonight, ladies and gentlemen. His head doesn't really work much anymore. It used to spin around.
Incomplete without his hat.
I know, and I couldn't find it. I don't know why. But there is my Jester. I did find him. And yeah, we're going to talk about Puppet Master Axis Rising. So this is the second in, I guess, this trilogy of films that are sort of coming out here in the middle of this. Charles Band. We've met him, Steve. Mr.
Yes,
Charles Band himself has directed this one.
He gave us $10 to purchase one of our shitty movies, and in return, we have given him hours and hours and hours of our life.
Yes, that's true. And with hours and hours of our life comes hours and hours of bitching and moaning about wasting said hours of our lives.
Regret.
You know, Steve, we only have so many hours. Yeah, there's only so many hours in one's life. Why are we choosing to spend our hours this way?
Because we are idiot children with nostalgia bias, I guess.
Very true. Very true. All right. Well, let's just go ahead and get into it. Puppet Master Axis Rising from 2012. Wikipedia describes it as an action horror film. It is the 10th entry in the Puppet Master film series. So, I mean, take it away. Let's get into this very problematic. We should add Rachel on for this one.
We should. It's not too late.
She was at it before.
She's seen this before. So I'm gonna try because I watched this a week ago. I did not rewatch it for this week, so I'm gonna do my best.
Neither did I.
This. It starts with the Ozu, and I still don't know if that's a name or a title, but she was the Japanese woman that was the main villain of the previous movie. At the end of the previous movie, she grabbed a bag with Tunneler and fled. The opening of this film is she runs into different Nazis, and they are done working with Ozu, so they kill her and take Tunneler, not before Tunneler manages to kill one of the Nazi henchmen. But now the Nazis.
You know, I was actually going to go look back. Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to actually look back at the previous movie because I could have sworn there was more than just Tunneler in that bag at the end of the first one, but maybe or the one before.
I thought Leech Woman was also in that bag, but apparently not.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know.
And we should point out right away, everyone's played by different characters, different actors in this entirely.
Yes. Which begs the question, were they fired for being shitty, or could they just not take it anymore? I think both of those scenarios are valid because every returning character has been recast. And I don't know swastika behind you. Go to look editing that. I don't know if that was for the better or not. But anyways, the Nazis, led by a new guy named Mobius, has captured Tunneler, and so we get I feel like you're on a delay. So good luck editing all of this.
Wonderful.
Yeah, you're definitely on a delay because it took you a bit to acknowledge that. So have fun. I'm gonna. There's kind of a story of what happened to the two good guys from the previous movie, and then a separate story with the Nazis, and then they converge at one point. So I'm gonna try to knock these out separately because I'll never get them right otherwise. So who are the names of these? What are the names of like the children that are good guys? I think Beth is the girl. Is it Danny and Beth or
Danny.
Donnie
Danny
and?
is Danny and Beth. Yeah, yeah.
All right,
Danny.
so Danny and Beth. Um, Danny and Beth have gone home. This takes place immediately after the previous movie, so I guess in the 5 minutes they were gone, like the bodies of his mom and brother have been removed from the house somehow. But they're kind of happy about what's going on, and so we see the puppets, and they just came from like a big fight, and so
Not
Leech.
Jester.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Leech Woman is looking kind of ragged. Pinhead, his sweater has been shot all to shit. Jester is sitting there, perfect clothes, not a mark on him, because he got left behind at the finale of the
Fucking.
last movie.
He
Uh,
gets done so dirty by these
uh,
movies.
so Danny had sent Blade out on recon, and so Blade comes back and through puppet telepathy slash sign language lets Danny and Beth know that Ozu is dead and the Nazis have Tunneler. And so Danny and Beth are like, all right, we got to figure out a way to get Tunneler, but then they get kidnapped. Someone knocks on their door, and when they open it, they just burst into the house, and they kidnap Danny and Beth. But it's not Nazis; they're kidnapped by the U.S. government and taken to meet some general who basically congratulates them for a job well done, and he wants to. There's some super mega ultra general like General Porter or something like that, and General Porter is like a very like high up person in the American military, high up enough that it would be kind of a good thing for the Nazis to take them out. So we'll see how that pays off, but General or I don't know, Major, General, Captain, I don't know what this guy's rank is. Porter, the super military guy, wants to reward
It's a
Danny and Beth.
general.
General, all right, so General Porter wants to reward Danny and Beth. But Danny and Beth are now targeted by the Nazis, presumably, and so they send like Sergeant Stone, this incredibly like military stereotype, misogynistic, like 40s dude, to watch over them. And General Stone is like,
Get in the kitchen and make me a
yeah, yeah,
sandwich.
he's calling Beth Toots and telling her to get in
Yeah.
the kitchen and make him food.
Those
Um,
are simpler days,
yeah,
Steve. Much
yeah,
simpler days.
some might say better days. I wouldn't say that, but Matt might.
I didn't go that far, Steve.
Uh, so uh, Stone is like, I know you're hiding something. I know that the two of you didn't just go and like kill Nazis. So what happened? So they Danny and Beth reveal the puppets to Stone. So that's kind of where they're at now. The next up for them is they are going to go meet General Porter. So over on the Nazi side of things, Mobius has Mobius has a doctor whose name I don't remember, so he's just going to be Nazi Doc. Nazi Doctor is
Dr. Fruhlhofer? Was that
I'm
his name?
I'm just calling him.
Freuhofer?
He's just the doctor. So the
Dr.
Nazi,
Nazi. Okay.
yeah, Doctor Nazi likes making dolls, likes making puppets for some reason. He has been essentially kidnapped by Nazis and like forced into servitude to create zombies. Because that's just what you do if you're a Nazi. So the Nazis,
I feel like I've seen this plot in
we
another
have.
movie where they're trying to reanimate. Which movie?
I think the previous one as well, also Puppet Master 3. Pretty much every time the Nazis have been the main bad guys and the puppets have been good guys, uh, the Nazis always want the puppets to, because they think they can bring people back to life with them, with the magic formula or magic spell, depending on the continuity. So yeah, we've definitely seen this before.
Okay.
Uh, so Dr. Nazi is being kind of shadowed by a Nazi woman named Ushi. And uh, let me lay out,
Oh God.
let me explain Ushi's personality. She is a Nazi and she has giant tits. End of description.
Hmm.
That's all she does. That's all she does in this movie. Is she is a Nazi with big tits. And so
Very Ilsa She-Wolf of the
yes,
SS. If anyone out there is Seen that.
So Captain Nazi Tits is like kind of seducing the doctor to keep him in line.
Captain Nazi Tits.
And so the doctor like has like the Captain America rebirth chamber that he put
Yeah.
they kill a man and put him in this chamber to try to bring him back to life, and he comes back to life. He comes back to life as a zombie, but then within seconds he collapses and starts quickly deteriorating. And so Mobius is very upset with the doctor, but then he gives him Tunneler and says, this might be helpful uh, because that's what the script said that was supposed to happen in the film. So now the doctor is going to find out what makes Tunneler come to life and see if he can somehow like turn that into a formula to bring humans back to life. He continues to work on this and fails for a while. We get a scene where Mobius and Captain Nazi Tits are like talking about ancient texts that Mobius has. This text was created before mankind walked the earth. Magic bullshit. Uh, Mobius is very much into the occult. So the Doctor continues to work on a formula. Captain Nazi Tits continues to flirt with him to keep him in line. But ultimately, like I guess the Nazi Tits is in a relationship with Mobius, and so when he
Yeah.
discovers her flirting with him, he kills her. So Mobius just executes Captain Nazi Tits. And
Just dramatically,
yeah,
boom.
he wants to kill the Doc, but the Doc is useful to him, and so he kills his woman. Um,
I'll say though that Captain Nazi Tits was the best actor in this entire movie, in my opinion. I think she pulled off like the sexy, flirtatious Nazi pretty well.
yeah, like I don't know that I'd call anyone in this good, but she did
She's the
she
best.
did the best with the role that she was assigned. So yeah, that's probably a
Yes.
true statement.
Yeah.
Um, so Doctor Nazi tries to bring her back to life, but the process fails again, and so she just dies again a second time and begins melting like the previous guy. Uh, but somehow, some way, this gives the doctor an idea. It's like, well, this green reanimator juice that I pulled out of Tunneler, clearly it wasn't meant to revive humans, but maybe it
Yes.
can work on any puppet. And so he builds four puppets, but we only see three up front.
Hmm.
The first puppet,
The last one's a surprise.
yeah, is the first puppet is Bombshell, and it is a puppet version of Nazi Tits. And I
And her power is like her Nazi tits like pop open, and she's got machine guns in them. And
yes, she has
yeah,
a metal bra that opens up, and instead of breasts are machine guns. And so at one point, Captain or
oh Charles Band.
Dr. Nazi like sends her out on like a test mission, and she kills a bunch of people and comes back, and it is declared a success. So Mobius is like, "Yep, okay, keep doing what you're doing. Our goal is to kill General Porter because that will, I don't know, fuck with the Americans in some way." So after the field test, Bombshell is there, and then we get introduced to the rest of the puppets. We have Wehrmacht, who is a werewolf, a really cool design. I liked Wehrmacht a lot. There is a puppet named Blitzkrieg that is basically just a torso on top of tank treads. Um,
But whose souls are in those
it's
puppets?
never explained. According
Okay.
the wiki has some fan suggestions that Wehrmacht might be the Nazi that Tunneler killed in the beginning, and then I think
Mm.
I believe there is some sort of description of who was possibly Blitzkrieg. Regardless, like these things never made in never made it into the movie. So the only two puppets that we know actually have souls are Bombshell and the fourth puppet. Um, so Mobius is like, okay, Bombshell, Wehrmacht, Blitzkrieg, yeah, good job. Send these three puppets to kill General Porter. And then when Mobius leaves, Doctor Nazi is like, oh ho ho, secret fourth puppet, and he reveals Kamikaze. And Kamikaze According to the wiki, I don't actually remember if this is in the movie or not, but Kamikaze was given the soul of the Asian man that was killed early on by Mobius.
Was that the comment that slits his throat?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't remember if that's in the movie, but according to the wiki, that's what happened. Uh, Kamikaze is the the worst
I'll put up a
stereotype.
photo.
Yes.
Or maybe I shouldn't.
Yeah,
Maybe I
yeah,
shouldn't.
maybe you should go Google Puppet Master Kamikaze, because Kamikaze is like, remember like the super like racist comics from like the 1940s when Captain America was fighting the Japanese, and the Japanese people were depicted with like actual like
Yeah.
Simpsons level yellow skin. That is what we have as a puppet.
Huge teeth,
Kamikaze
slanted
has
eyes,
huge teeth,
like
slanted
a
eyes,
caricature.
like the headband with the red rising sun emblem on it, and he has some M80s tied to his back. So like Kamikaze is a Japanese puppet suicide bomber with yellow skin and slanted eyes.
And they
Charles Band did
mention,
this.
yeah, they mentioned in there. I don't know if it was Dr. Nasi or whatever, but there's a line in here where he's like, "You only get one shot, so make it count," or
Yes.
something like that. You're just like, "Oh my gosh!" And I'd actually be curious. I know that Charles Band, he had to design it this way to try to get controversy and eyeballs on this movie, because that's the anybody with trying to have good taste would not create this, right? Like you would not, like if we were making a puppet movie, Steve, in no way, shape, or form would we ever be like, you know what, we're going to take the most racist caricature of a Japanese person and put it and make the power of the puppet one of like the most tragic sort of things from World War II. Like it's going to just a kamikaze pilot. Why would you do
Yeah.
this? Why?
I mean, if we talk long enough, you might see it on the screen behind Matt here. Anyway, so now it's like the puppets have been sent to the award ceremony, where General Porter is now going to present Danny and Beth with medals for saving the day in the previous movie. And Danny gives this big speech. He's like, "I don't want this medal. I'm not a hero. The people out there actually fighting on the front lines are the heroes." I don't,
His
blah blah
brother
blah.
died in the last movie.
Yeah, so but then the bad puppets attack. Um, wait, let me back up a second, because I think we missed something. Some of the puppets are going to come with Danny and Beth to this award ceremony as lookouts, and so Blade and Pinhead are taken, and Leech Woman gets left behind, and just saying, "Oh, Leech Woman, not today." They don't even acknowledge Jester. They just leave Jester behind again. So
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely absurd. Look at this. Look at this. He comes with a weapon. His actual toy comes with a weapon. Why do they not give Jester a weapon in the movie and let him do something? It's
well,
bullshit.
they don't.
Charles Band, it's bullshit.
Jester does nothing. So once again, Jester has been left behind. This time, Leech Woman was left behind to keep him company, at least.
Yeah.
But the evil puppets attack the ceremony. Uh, obviously our heroes survive. General Porter survives, and General Porter is going to reward Danny by like letting him fight in the war, despite the fact that he has a bad leg, which won't let him pass the medical exam.
This fight scene though was probably like the best part of the movie. Like
Yeah,
I liked seeing the puppets fight in this, and I wish these movies were more of that. Just give us the puppets fighting each other. That was the best part of
yeah,
the movie.
100%. But the puppets kind of end up with like an arch rival. So like Blade is fighting with Wehrmacht. I think Pinhead is fighting with Blitzkrieg, and then Bombshell is just there like shooting the shit out of things. And Kamikaze, who talks. Kamikaze is one of the few puppets that talks, and it talks exactly how you might imagine a racist Japanese puppet would speak.
Oh
Um,
God, Charles Band,
yeah,
Charles Band, what are you doing?
but ultimately, like, I don't know like what goal the evil puppets accomplish, but they eventually just leave, and now it's time to prepare for the final battle. So Sergeant Stone and Danny and Beth are going to, with the puppets, are going to lead an assault on Mobius's lair. to beat the evil puppets and rescue Tunneler. And so, like, at various points through the movie, Leech Woman has just been like holding up things. Like she holds up like a piece of white fabric, and Danny and Beth are like, "Not now, Leech Woman. We don't want to deal with you." And at one point, she holds up like
Poor Leech Woman.
yeah, like they just like shut Leech Woman down. Like Leech Woman's trying to help, and they're like, "Not now." Like
Throw some respect on Andre Toulon's dead wife.
who he granted the power to drain the life of people. So like
I didn't say it.
at one point, Leech Woman holds up a piece of white fabric. Another point, she holds up a little black hat, and she's trying to alert Danny and Beth to the fact that they have another puppet at their disposal. By the way, speaking of other puppets, Ninja Puppet is just dead. Like at the beginning of the movie, they're just like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we forgot to save him from the explosion in the previous movie. Whoops, our bad."
Yep.
So
Which
Ninja's
is weird.
gone.
I'd love to ask Charles Band, like, why. There had to be a reason, because Charles Band doesn't just get rid of
Yeah,
puppets. Why did he get rid of the ninja puppet and choose not to use that puppet in future stuff? It's so weird.
I
It's
I
just like
I don't get it. Like
brushed
a
aside.
random puppet one off for no reason.
Yeah.
But Leech Woman alerts Danny and Beth to the fact that the pieces of Six Shooter are there, and so they assemble the pieces, and so now the Six Shooter has joined the ranks, and so now it's time for the final fight. The
All
heroes,
dressed in black
yeah,
too.
yeah, a stealth Six Shooter. The
Yeah.
heroes plus the good puppets attack the Nazis. Um, Mobius ends up killing Sergeant Stone, and then the puppets kind of like pair off again. Blade is fighting Wehrmacht. Pinhead is fighting Blitzkrieg. Leech Woman is battling Bombshell with assistance from Six Shooter, who is has guns because Bombshell has guns, and now the good guy puppets have guns. There is a shot. So what's Jester doing during all this? Jester is there, but
He's there.
he's there, but the only time we see him is like the puppets have gone to fight each other, and there's like a shot of I think Wehrmacht, but I might be wrong. But there's a shot of one of the evil puppets, and in the background, Jester is hiding behind a table leg and just shivering.
It's so sad. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to think. It does not matter what these filmmakers do to Jester and give him short shrift. He will always be my favorite puppet. Jester, I believe in you. I know you could have done something had the filmmakers allowed you to do something. It's bullshit. I don't get
Yeah,
to see my favorite puppet. You get to see your favorite puppet do shit all the
yeah,
time.
because
Your favorite
he's
puppet's the
actually
star of the
useful.
franchise. Star of the franchise. My
I
favorite puppet does nothing.
I picked a useful puppet as my favorite. Like I can't help you there. So yeah, all of the puppets are fighting. Um, like Bombshell like gets the most of the like I don't know the screen time as far as the evil puppets go. At some point, and I don't know if this is like an editing mistake or if it's by design, but at some point, Blitzkrieg and Wehrmacht just kind of go away. Like there's a shot of them
Yeah.
fighting, and then they just don't show up again. Like, and it's the good puppets didn't beat them. Like we saw them in the middle of a fight, and then they just disappear. So hopefully they come
It
back.
feels incomplete.
Yeah,
Yeah, something
hopefully
feels
they're
incomplete.
in the next movie, which I haven't seen. So maybe they're there, maybe they're not. Anyways, good puppets win, I guess. The main bad guy is dead. Sergeant Stone is dead. Danny wants to kill Nazi Doctor, but Beth is like, "Oh no, he's a victim too. He's suffered enough. We should let him go." And so they rescue Tunneler, but they let the Nazi Doctor go, and Nazi Doctor reveals that he has smuggled some puppet reanimator juice out of his lab. And then Kamikaze blows up the Nazi lab, and Beth and Danny live happily ever after, presumably with the good puppets. Wow, wow.
Yeah, this one, it's not good. Charles Band didn't do a great job with this one. I will say that I think that what really set, like, I didn't like Axis of Evil all that much. but the acting quality in this seemed to take even more of a precipitous drop. Like Axis of Evil was bad, but this seemed to get even worse. And I can't believe that there aren't decent actors out there that could put in a basically good performance in something like this. But it's bad. It's bad. The problematic nature of Kamikaze, it makes you feel kind of icky just watching the movie, or just kind of every time Kamikaze is mentioned or he pops up, you're just kind of like, should I? Is it okay to even like this? Like, am I going to get canceled if we just watching this movie? Um, yeah, and letting the Nazi doctor go, I'm like, what? That made no. There's so much stuff in these movies that just makes no sense internally, logically, with the characters themselves. Wasn't into this one. I did like the puppets fighting each other. I thought that was pretty much the only good aspect of this, was the 5 minutes or so of the runtime we get with the puppets actually fighting each other. Fuck you, Charles Band, for doing nothing with my boy right here.
You even have
He
his
could have.
sad face facing the camera.
Yeah, see how sad he is. So, yeah, these movies are just making me madder and madder as I go. I think, like Puppet Master 3, you're like, okay, it's good, but everything else has kind of made me a little like, maybe I have to reevaluate
We,
how I feel about the Puppet Master franchise overall. We'll see. We're not even halfway through it yet, but we'll see. We'll see.
we've definitely entered like the super low budget Charles Band is just making this because he knows idiots will buy it movies. Like there's no like
Yeah.
passion at all put into this. Like they're just cranking these out. Now I like you and me and Rachel watched this probably like 10 years ago now for like the first
Yeah.
ever Steve cast back before it was called the Steve cast. I don't even think we've found that original audio or released it. But we had a good time with this movie when we watched it
Hmm.
together. Um, and I think it was mostly just like laughing at the absurdity of this and being in shock at the shit that Charles Band put into this movie. But man, watching it alone on my own, like whatever joy this movie gave me when we watched it for the first time many years ago, it's gone now. Like I like the new puppet designs. I remember laughing frequently when I watched this with you and Rachel many years ago, but I watched this on my own. And it was just like I just could not wait for it to end.
Yeah, and I think that's an interesting point. Is a lot of these movies that are quote unquote bad movies. Well, I mean, this is a bad movie. Let's just call it. It's a bad movie.
Yeah, definitely.
You kind of have to somehow get enjoyment out of it with a group, because if you don't have that group element component where you're almost making jokes that are funnier jokes than what are in the movie necessarily, and you're making fun of it and you're getting that camaraderie with your friends, it's brutal to just sit there by yourself and watch this kind of stuff, because you have no one to like bounce off of. Like, look how stupid this is. You just have to sit there and stew in your own stupidity of spending your time watching something like this. And yeah, Puppet Master Access Determination, it took them 5 years to finish out this trilogy.
The next one
uh
was crowdfunded, which makes me think it's going to be even lower budget and lower quality than this and Axis of Evil.
Yeah, and so at this time, Charles Band, Full Moon, hurting for funds pretty bad. I mean, these could not have cost much money to make. Axis of Evil and Axis Rising had to have been pretty dirt cheap. If he had to crowd fund to get money to finish out this thing, because I don't think I've seen Axis Termination either. That's the next one coming up.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go into that completely new and fresh. I'm at least a little bit excited for that. Just to be like, okay, a Puppet Master, one of the few Puppet Master movies I haven't actually seen. We're gonna go into it. All of these, by the way, take place in Bodega Bay, which is like the main location of this entire franchise is in Bodega Bay, and it was just like every Nazi just converges at Bodega Bay apparently.
There are
But yeah,
multiple secret Nazi bases embedded in this American city, and they all
yeah,
want zombies and puppets.
yeah. I did like the Sergeant Stone or whatever, some of the banter between him and Beth when he's basically just treating her like the most sexist 50s housewife. But Beth, to Charles Band's credit, I think he was co-writer on this script. She doesn't just sit there and take it. She like kind of fights back against it a little bit. But there's some point, I remember this was 2 weeks ago, so it's not fresh in my mind, but there was some point where he is going at her, saying something like "get in the kitchen," whatever, and eventually she just goes, "Oh, boys," or something, and then does it.
Man.
I'm just like, yeah, men, something
Yeah,
like that. And
she
I'm just like,
tells him like you're acting like this, sexist, uncivilized buffoon. And he's like, oh, I act better with some food in my stomach. Beth.
now, I mean, it's not funny, but it's funny how it's played because the acting is so bad and it's just so ridiculous and over the top that you can't take it seriously at all. But there's a lot of stuff, and this is a greater conversation I guess we could have about these sorts of things. I could have understood this type of movie in the 1980s when you could have a kamikaze. Generally, people would accept it because it wasn't considered this really sort of problematic thing like it is today. But Charles Band decided to make this like now in the 21st century. And he actually made a kamikaze puppet that he sold. It wasn't he just had it in the movie. He paid to create the racist puppet and then sell it to Puppet Master fans, which to me is just another level of bizarre beyond what we have in here already. I don't get it. I don't understand it. Not a fan of Puppet Master Axis Rising. There's nothing here for me.
Yeah, I wish that I wish that the one time I watched this as a group was the only time I saw this, because then I would still have fond yet problematic memories of it. Watching this as a solo like ruined this movie for me. So I am not looking. When do we get to like good stuff? Like where are we in the Puppet Master timeline? Are we like close to Puppet Master 1 yet?
Yes. So the next one's Puppet Master Axis Termination. That finishes off this three-part trilogy. Then we get the spin-off film Blade the Iron Cross, which I have
I've
not
not
seen.
not
So
seen
that's a
that one
movie
either.
that's a movie dedicated to your favorite puppet. So who knows? That could be great. And then we get to Puppet Master.
All right, so
So we're
we're
two films away.
okay. We're almost there. Salvation is in sight. What are we gonna
Yeah,
do
yeah,
if
yeah.
Puppet Master 1 sucks? Because I have not watched that movie in probably 20 years.
I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. Puppet Master was the movie that made Full Moon Full Moon. That was their first film, and that was their huge hit in 1989 on video. And that's what made Charles Band his riches after the collapse of Empire. So if the original Puppet Master doesn't hold up, I might cry. It might just
That
be a
might be
really
the
sad,
end
sad
of
day.
Full Moon Fridays. Because if Puppet Master is
Yeah.
bad, I can't imagine they made much stuff that is legitimately good and holds up today.
Well, remember, like I still like Puppet Master 2. We still got Puppet Master 4 and 5 coming up. You like those? We got the Littlest Reich. That's the new kind of weird reboot
I've
spinoff.
not seen
Now,
that one.
one thing I was going to ask you is, so Puppet Master the Littlest Reich is not in this sort of like main canon. It's its own like separate thing. So I was gonna propose this to you. If we get through like Axis Termination and it's awful, and Blade the Iron Cross and it's awful, maybe we do a palate cleanser in the middle of this, and say we'll do Puppet Master Littlest Reich because it's supposedly good. Jeff loves
All
it.
right.
Jeff, and it's like, okay, it's its own separate thing. We're still, it doesn't matter if it's in chronological order because it's not part of this whole thing. Palette cleanser, and then roll into the main
Yeah,
films.
I'm good with that. So yeah,
Okay,
we
okay,
Littlest Reich, I guess, come and save us potentially if the next two movies are terrible.
yeah, yeah. But I am looking to it. I haven't seen the latest two, so maybe they're awesome. Who knows? But with that, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That's all we got on Full Moon Friday. Have you seen Puppet Master Axis Rising? What did you think? Leave a comment down below. Tell us, do you like the movie? Do you hate it? Do you feel sorry for us that we're we're doing this journey? Let us know in the comments below. And with that, we will be back next week with the conclusion of this trilogy of middle movies: Puppet Master, Axis Termination. I assume the puppets beat the Nazis. See you next week.